We're live.
Welcome back to In the Box Office. I'm out of my prison cell.
In another one, it looks the exact same, maybe worse.
It's my treatment room, and the wall in front of me has designs, but the wall behind me doesn't, so it looks worse.
My background maybe looks a little bit better, but there's like some guy. They don't have AC here, so the window is open, and there's like some guy either working out or doing something weird out there. So if you guys hear something, a man grunting, I don't know what's going on. So
Yeah, I'm here today because we're doing it more during the day, so the gym has people in it. But okay.
I keep forgetting that it's like normal time there. It's 9:30 p.m. here, so it's almost bedtime. It's weird.
Kate is in Europe for those that don't know.
Yes.
But should we just dive in?
Yep. Let's do it.
So I'm super excited. We have a very special guest today. Just wanted to introduce her. She is a CrossFit Games athlete from the games, and she made the games in 2019, 2023, and then this year she won the Mayhem Classic, qualifying her for the 2025 CrossFit Games. She's known for just being a ray of sunshine in human form, loving on everyone in the community, and just always doing hard things with a smile on her face. So we're super excited to bring on Saghafi.
Wow, what an introduction, Mesa. Oh my goodness. I'm like tearing up already.
I love it. I'm so ready.
So
I feel like we're all going to cry at some point today. It's okay.
It's okay. It feels like every podcast that I go on, every interview that I go on, for some reason, we're just crying the good tears. But
you got to get them out sometimes.
Yeah. We always talk about good things, though. It's all good.
As she was talking, you're like, yes, that one too.
Yes. You guys, I just got out of the shower. Literally, we're so bad. Today we were just so bad with some time management. I was like, 30 minutes. I could shower, get ready, make myself some strong coffee. And I'm just like, it's 5 minutes.
If it makes you feel better, I got on here about 2 minutes ago because I was trying to get food, run in, same thing. I thought I had more time than we did.
Love it.
It was stressing me out. I was like, are you going to get on here or what's happening?
One of those days.
We're all in the same boat today, so no worries. You look great, as always.
Thank you. I have my ring lights on right now. My influencer ring lights.
Your hair looked amazing when you were on set on.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh my God. That's so funny that you say that because I woke up and I had my time was 10, which wasn't early at all. But by the time I woke up, by the time I started to get ready, I'm like, oh my God, I still have bed hair. And I go to the bathroom, I literally wet my bangs and I just air dry them or blow dry them. And I just push them off to the side and they still naturally do this thing where they just they just look so flat no matter what I do. And I brushed my hair and it just went frizz, just immediately out. And so I get on and Savon's like, whoa, nice hair. And I'm like, are you being sarcastic right now? Because I know this is crazy.
You look great.
Humidity. Perfect. You looked great.
I was jealous. My hair is stick straight, so I would love for it
to. So actually, my hair isn't, when I blow dry it, it'll blow dry a little bit straighter, but my hair naturally, I would say it's more of a beachy, wavy kind of hair, naturally. Yeah. So, but with the humidity, it looks great. Yes.
All right, Fee. Well, welcome to In the Box Office. You're our first female guest, so that
what an honor! Oh my, kind of surprising. For some reason, I would think you would have more female guests first before the guys.
That's the goal, to get more female guests on here.
Well, good. I'm glad I could be the first one.
We thought, especially after everything that's kind of come up with you in very recent, would be a perfect time to bring our first female guest on and kind of just chat all things. So this year, you are, like Mesa said, qualified for the CrossFit Games this year. Last year, you were there, but you were not competing. You were a very loud voice for what happened with Lazar. I remember seeing you in the stands with your posters. I think you were very loud. What is the vibe going into this year as a competitor? Knowing what happened last year, how do you feel going into the games this year?
Wow, that's such a great question. I feel like last year, because I was there as a fan, and Lazar's passing happened, and it was traumatic for everyone in a different way. You can't even put into words what even the family directly went. Like, I can't even imagine. And I feel like once the game started to just continue on as normal, that's where I thought it was just so, like, something about it was just so wrong and so cold. And to like continue on as if the first day didn't happen was just so, yeah, wrong to me. And so I felt like the only way that I could keep relevant of the reality of what happened was creating some posters. And actually the people at the entrance like would make me like cut them or throw them out, and I had to find ways to sneak them in. Yeah, like they're like, no, they get in the way or they're distracting, or it's our policy. I think it was like a policy to not have posters up. I was like, I see everyone else bring flags and posters. And so yeah, so that was last year. This year, I think as a competitor going into it, I think one of the things that I don't want to speak for everyone, but I want to speak definitely for myself, and I believe most competitors, all we want is number one is transparency and safety. And going into this year, I think like we have a responsibility as athletes. At least I know I want to continue to hold myself to that standard that if I see something that needs changed or should be done better, or there's some disconnect that as an athlete I see something regarding my safety as something that should be considered. Like my voice matters just as much as anybody else's, and I shouldn't stay quiet on those things. So I think going into this year's games, I think there's maybe more courage and bravery to be able to stand up for if we do see things that should be done better, especially considering last year. And I think we I know at least I have a little bit more bravery going into it because of what the PFAA has been doing, the passion that Brent has to continue to elevate the transparency in the sport and in the space, and knowing that I could lean on him and the PFAA to continue to be that voice. I think that just gives me just more awareness. And going into the games, I'm going to be focused on getting the job done and doing my part as an athlete. But then on the other side of things, that responsibility of, if there's things that need to be said, having that voice and being confident that I could say something.
Was there ever a question if you were going to participate this year? I know a lot of athletes struggle with deciding if they were going to participate in the Open and go to the games if they qualified. Was that something you were considering?
Well, we after the games, almost like the thought of the next season wasn't even like, you almost like didn't care to think about the next season. So I did go through that feeling of like nothing matters as much as a life does. And like the thought of next season and what's to come and all those things that just are so fleeting and you realize are really truly not as important. It wasn't a thought for a while until time kind of does its job and you do have to focus on your career. Like, this is my job, this is the thing that does pay the bills. And like the reason that I'm sponsored with some incredible brands is the expectation to be relevant as a competitor and as an athlete, and the CrossFit Games is a huge part of that. Um, and so yeah, so eventually, because I knew that from just having enough conversations that I still wanted to compete at the games, just because I believe that the games could be something incredible. It can be amazing. There can be great leadership, there can be transparency, there can be safety, and there can be security. And those things, it isn't impossible for the games to create, those opportunities and almost just do better. Like, there is, nothing is ever broken permanently, and I want to be part of those changes. But also, I do love the sport and I love the space, and it's just been the thing that has completely changed my life. And to step back would be like I'm stepping back from the thing that has also changed me. And so if I could be a good change, or if I could be part of a good change, that was kind of where my mind went and my reasoning to continue to still compete at the CrossFit Games.
For
I think
sure.
that's a tough one. I think everybody was probably in your situation deciding what the right thing was, and I think it'll be interesting to see what happens this year if it like dredges up some feelings at the start of the games and what the vibe is there. Maybe it'll help because it's at a new venue as well. But like I personally hope that we maybe don't just start fresh and there's a little bit of remembrance. I don't know what that would look like, but I think there's something to be said that like it would feel weird to just not acknowledge anything at all and just act like nothing happened, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. And there have been some incredible competitions that have taken that stance on we're going to continue to do what we love and we're going to remember Lazar in a way that we hope that it's remembering him in the best way possible. And even though a lot, months have passed and I think it was the Belgrade games? They had a beautiful memorial dedicated to him and videos and just like a true remembrance. And I just remember seeing that video online, and it just had me in tears. And I'm like, that was amazing. Like that was the remembrance you'd want to see, not just like Instagram posts. Um, that the games ended up doing in that day. And I know like there's no right, there's no wrong. It's such a hard topic of conversation because there's going to be comments that totally disagree with what I said and totally, have different opinions, and like that's fine.
Always.
And yeah, like there's no right or wrong way, and I think everyone can agree that that's obviously true. No one knows what the perfect answer is, and sometimes all you have to do is just do the things that you think are good with the best intention, and if your heart is in the right place, at the very least that's what you could kind of lean on, that you're doing things with a good heart. So
100%. So you were one of the original board members that signed, the demands asking Dave Castro to be removed from his position. And I think you and Pat are the only two kind of remaining board members that are participating this year in the games. Did you have or do you have going into it any like internal conflict that those demands weren't met or nothing happened and then you're still kind of participating in the games?
no, I've had some conversations with Brent, and one of the things I love about Brent is how transparent he is with the conversation that he has had, like conversations or at least discussions and topics of discussion that he is really working on. There's a lot of things that stay confidential between, him and a lot of the people behind the scenes at CrossFit. Those discussions are happening, and a lot of people don't know that. But that's because there's still information and conversations being discussed to be able to produce, a new change, a new structure, maybe more transparency on a certain demand that was asked. One of those, actually recently, I could speak on it because I just got an email about it, which was really cool to see, is last year there was this struggle on not knowing how many events are going to be outside, inside, the heat. When it comes to the heat, how can we prepare? How can athletes that aren't acclimated to the heat prepare the best? And there was none of that last year. And we actually just recently got an email from CrossFit. I forget who was behind the email. I have to check, but it was a lengthy, drawn out email on how to acclimate to the heat appropriately, steps that you should take, what would be best practices when it comes to travel, when it comes to heat, when it comes to hydration, like all of it. And that was great. That's a huge step. I don't think I've never received an email like that in years prior competing at the games. So that was good. And that's very small. That's just a very small example of other things that are in the works. But I think, that is just, that's a step in the right direction. There's other things that are happening that would come more from Brent being, the PFAA as a board, being open to continuing to share what all those things are coming as they're coming into fruition. But from what I know, there are being so many conversations had for so many changes, and it seems like it's a slowly but sure process that things are happening. And I'm not on the board now, but the board is comprised of actually it's Pat, obviously Brent, and then Victoria Campos. No, there's someone from Africa. I forget her name. Leviticus. Oh, I'm mispronouncing her last name so bad. Danielle is on the board as the North American representative, and Jake Douglas. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting anyone. I know I'm probably forgetting someone, but that's the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they work together, and they're the voices of the athletes. And so, honestly, I have never had an issue with communication when it comes to the PFAA and just communicating my thoughts and feedback to Brent. So, if there's one thing I tell people is if you're an athlete competing in the space and there's something on your mind and if there's feedback that you have, there's so many opinions out there, but no one wants to share it in a way that's like presented in a way that could actually be useful and we could be constructive and it could actually help. Everyone just likes to keep it to themselves or throw in the comment section. But the PFAA is there to be the voice of the athlete. And if there is concern, if there is, worry about certain things or questions on where are certain things going, what is the status of these demands, what is this, that, like that's what the PFA is there for. And an email away could solve a lot of questions too. But
Yeah.
it's been great. I really, really love what the PFA is doing. I side with them. I'm supportive of them. I am part of that team as a voice. So I'm excited to see how the games go. I really hope the best for this year.
Yeah, and I know you said it seems small with that email, but I think that's exactly what it is. It's an accumulation of a lot of small things that are going to create, like nobody expects all the change to happen overnight, right? We just
Yeah.
need a lot of small steps like that.
Yeah. And there's so many other changes that are in the works but that was just a small thing that I think we could actually physically see at the moment, just by an email. I'm like, that's awesome. Like that is a step in a great direction for incoming athletes, for rookies, for people that are acclimating to 90-degree weather, heat for the first time. Like that is just, I really hope that just shows that there are things that are continuing to happen, even if it's in small ways. Small changes still matter.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like we're hopeful for the games this year and the direction that CrossFit's going. They're taking some feedback and making small changes, and I think that's the biggest thing. Is some people keep saying it's not enough, but it's something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, like, what are you most looking forward to for the games this year? Either for yourself, the games. What are you most excited for?
I guess my thought immediately goes to like every single year I've competed at the games, I've always gotten cut. And so I just want to earn my way from start to finish,
It's
literally.
totally happening this year.
Oh my God. Like, selfishly, I want to just start on Friday and end on Sunday and finally be able to say I've made it through successfully, because I've never done that. My first year, I got cut at 24th. I was 24th in my first year, 2019, and then 2023 was my second year. I got 32nd, I think. And
this
that was
year,
like,
top 10?
what was that?
And this year, top 10?
Hey, I'm going for it. You know what?
Yep.
I think previous versions of me would think that top 10 is so out of reach. I'm just not there. I'm not there. But I think this year I've been able to not just prove to others, but genuinely just prove to myself that like I am there. I can be there. I have everything that it takes to earn my way to the top 10. I mean, competing at Mayhem was just so, it was just an experience like I've never experienced before competing. I've always loved how Mayhem does things, how they program, how they just carry themselves as a community. And to compete there for a second time, I really thought that top 10 would be like really good. Like, considering the athletes that are there, I mean, they're all podium. Like, I would consider so many of those girls podium contenders at this year's games, and they have the ability to podium and to contend against those girls. It's like, if I could just be a couple spots of reach, like, then that's very good, and to have one just prove to me that like there's nothing that I can't do. Like, there's no reason that I can't also be right there with them. So yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that I can. And if I don't, that's okay. But I just know that I'm gonna go in this year's games with every single ounce of belief and faith in myself and my team and everything that we've done. So I think it's a great goal, but also I know that that's totally out of my control. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We're manifesting for you right here on the
Yes, pray for me.
Before we jump ship, when
Hopefully
we
it's
were,
in the cards. Hopefully it's in the
podcast.
cards.
I think
I'm really proud of how this year has gone so far.
Yeah,
yeah, before we jump ship, I just want to say when we were at WFP, me and Kate were like right at the finish line next to your lane when you did the squat clean ladder or like the
Oh
gymnastic
yes,
squat
I do
clean.
remember. You were in like the right corner.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and you
remember
like were
seeing
like
you.
it started to get heavy, and we're like, let's see how she does. And you were just like smashing it, and you finished, and you could just like we were both like fist bumping the air,
You were
like
fist bumping with me. Oh
yeah, and you can like see that you felt that confidence, which was really cool.
yes, I felt so strong during that event. I just like, I'm like, why don't cleans ever feel that easy in practice?
You were
Adrenaline,
that's
right?
that's
so
why I love
composed.
competing.
Yeah, you were so composed because we were like, we'll see. And then you just walked up to the bar, and I was like, she's
You
fine.
got
Yeah.
it. It was
That's
awesome.
crazy. The first time that I practiced it, we accidentally ran through the wrong weights, and I accidentally ran through the like lighter weights. I think it was like the challenger weights, and I thought the challenger weights felt heavy. I'm like, man, 155 feels not good right now. And I finish, and I'm like, dang, that's gonna be a hard event. And then we're like, oh no, we start at 175 and we end at 200. We don't end at 175 or whatever they ended on. I think they ended on 185 maybe.
Wasn't it 205? Am I wrong?
I think we ended at 200 or 205, something like that.
Yeah.
It was heavy. It was heavy.
It was something. And yeah, when I went into that event, I was like focusing on just like one round at a time, one round. And then I became a different fee on that floor and I loved every bit of it.
Us too.
I
So I
love when
wanted
I love when I get to have moments like that, but then like the crowd, like you could just feel the crowd and the crowd just feeds you and you just pour into it. Like it is just a feeling that you can never get in training. It only happens when you're in the flow state on the competition floor. It's the best feeling.
and I feel like WFP, the crowd was kind of close, which was cool
Mm-hmm.
to like almost feel it.
Yes, yes. The announcing, the lights, you could feel like some of the people in the chairs are like right next to you.
Oh,
They're not in stands, kind of just still far away. I just remember that even like on the jerk event, split jerk, and then the echo and sled. It's almost like the fans are right there. Like it was my platform, and just in reach, there's people sitting in their seats, like just watching. Yeah.
that's so
Super
awesome.
cool. I cannot wait for the second stage of World Fitness Project. It was so cool to like finish the way that I did and to be invited. Because I didn't have to do the second stage qualifier because I don't have a pro card yet. Hopefully, I could earn that by the end of the tour. And Will
So you
called
can
me.
get the jacket, right?
Yeah, yes, I know. The jacket looks so dope. It looks like it just looks so fresh. I would never want to ruin it. I just wear it once and keep it just pristine.
I love
I love it.
So I want to jump topics a little bit. You recently did an interview or video with Hiller that was obviously extremely impactful.
Mm,
I personally resonated with it a lot. It hit home for me. I think it probably hits home for more men and women than you could possibly imagine. Um,
mm,
both me and Kate obviously talked immediately after we watched this. And first of all, thank you for sharing your story. I think
thank
that's so important, more than you know. And like we loved you as an athlete and a human before. Obviously, we're fist bumping with you at the finish line,
you.
but I
Yes.
after that video, it's just like our respect for you has grown so much. Um,
Wow.
and we talk a lot about how transformative CrossFit can be, right? But we're usually referring to like a fitness or a physical transformation. But I think a lot of times people forget how impactful it can be on someone going through, a life altering event, whether that's assault, rape, divorce, addiction, like a bunch of different things. And you kind of talked about that in your video with Hiller, but what was it specific
Mm.
about CrossFit that helped with maybe the pain or confusion or the hurt that you were going through.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Mesa. That means a lot. That's like such a hard topic, I think, to talk about, especially because there's so many emotions attached to it that a lot of times you don't even know how to process it. So the first way to process it is to almost do something else to cover those feelings. And to just go to your question, I think that's exactly what my immediate source of handling emotions that were so like strong and sad and aggressive and hateful and resenting and like just a list of so many other emotions that I was able to pour it into one thing that I at least like at least that thing that I could pour those really bad emotions in, that doing that thing, which was CrossFit, which was going to my CrossFit affiliate, going to those classes, I could pour those feelings in and I could actually do something good for myself. Versus, I think, unfortunately, a lot of people turn the other way and they pour a lot of the trauma and the emotions that have hurt them and they pour it into addictions and drugs. And obviously, like, I had, some deep depression and some suicidal thoughts at the same time, but I also had something good that I was able to lean on, and for me that was CrossFit. And I just don't think, if I didn't have that, I would just be in my bad thoughts and I would just be in this dark space. And so with being able to go to CrossFit classes, I surrounded myself with good people. And that's when I say in Hiller's video, I don't think I talked about it enough, and I wish I elaborated more about the importance of a good community. And for me, it was a really positive CrossFit community, and it's the impact of a positive, whether it's CrossFit community, whether it's another kind of community you align with. It doesn't have to be fitness. It's just good having good people in your circle. Like, that's who you should be leaning on when you don't know anything else to do, when you are just so lost and in some dark place. At the very least, you can lean on good people, and just surround yourself by lots of love and positivity. And eventually over time, that pours into your cup. And it might not be immediate, it might not be within the day or the week or the month or maybe several months, but just having faith that if I continue to do things that bring me joy, which for me was going to my CrossFit class, saying hi to and connecting with friends that I just love, and they connect with me and they love my heart and they don't judge me for, anything other than just who I am, and they love who I am, and you just keep pouring into that good things come, and they eventually come back your way, and you could do some really cool things with pain if you use it in the right way. And I think that's just truly all I did. I used a lot of pain, and I learned through CrossFit how to turn it into something good and how to not stay a victim of my past and of my trauma. And I think that's where maybe a lot of the really good things that I've learned, and maybe that's even where my joy does come from, is from the 19-year-old Fee that didn't have that joy, but she kind of learned how to grow from a dark place. And CrossFit class is just, I wish I could keep taking CrossFit classes. I do. I try. When I can, I do. But there's power in a good community, and that's like all that it was truly when in those years.
I think we say it all, at least I say it all the time. I'm like, CrossFit just teaches you how to do hard things. And we're not talking about like handstand push-ups or like a nasty workout, right? Like, and I always say like it gets you through a breakup, it gets you through, getting laid off of a job. But I think your story is a perfect example of like how powerful what like we do in CrossFit really can be. And so like, again, thank you for sharing that story, because it's more than just like look at like Fee the athlete, which is also amazing, right? But like has also overcome a lot of really hard things with fitness. And like that's why I love CrossFit so much, because we see it every single day. But a story like yours, people don't talk about very often, obviously. So thank you
Thank
for saying
you.
that
That's
and
so
bringing that
special.
topic. I think it's good to be able to have conversation like this too. And I'm sure people have reached out to you as well, saying thank you. They can resonate. Um, I've listened to the stuff that you've been on recently, and I know like you had told your boyfriend after it happened, and I think you confided in your friend. Outside
Hmm.
well, like, have you had conversations with people before this video with Hiller came out, or is this something that you've kind of kept close to your chest and just decided to kind of pull the trigger?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, Kate, because actually this was something that, so I recently went on a mission trip to Peru, to Lima, Peru, and I went with the group at Mayhem Missions. So Luke Parker had reached out to me many months ago, like back in, I had visited Mayhem, just a group of like I have a good amount of friends out in Cookville, and I just went to visit right before Wadapalooza, and then a little bit after that, Luke had called me and invited me to be on this mission trip. And I had told him that I was just so like I was so interested in the opportunity. I needed to make it to the games first because that was my number one goal is I need to just do my job. But I also want to take this opportunity on as it is just something just as a deeper way to connect with the Latin American community, which is what I wanted for so long and was praying on. And the opportunity literally like was the phone call that Luke shot up to me, and this was before the open happened. This was like before the open, and then we went through the open and we did super well, and then we went to Mayhem and we got the bid, and then soon enough I was like, Luke, I'm going to Peru, like it is like a locked in thing. And in Peru, what was really cool was we were separated in a couple groups. So it was myself, Ty Jenkins, Rebecca Devine, Bella Martin, Jorge Fernandez. Like he went, like a bunch of us as athletes were put into these groups. And there was a point where I was like, you guys, I wrote out my testimony and I'm so happy that I didn't share it. I'm just like, and one of my friends, he was like, why? Like you should share it. It's powerful. And I'm like, no, it's not perfect. Like, I don't even know if it's the perfect words or the perfect thing to say. Like, it's scary. It's scary to share things that you've kept to yourself for so long. And it's embarrassing, like there's just so many things that you're like, I don't want to share because I don't want to get judged. And there's so many, I don't want to cry in front of people. Like, there's just so many things. And I had said I wrote it, but no one asked me for my testimony. So I'm actually happy I didn't share. And Luke and Jorge and some of the pastors within the group, they like just spoke to me. We got together as just a group, and they were just speaking to me on the power that it is to just share my testimony and my journey, not even just for myself, but how powerful it can be for someone else. And ultimately, like my story and my experiences happen to me, but they aren't just for me, they're for me to share and hopefully extend out to the world, that it could impact someone in a really, really good way. And to impact a life that's purpose, like that is deep purpose. And that it's also not my story, but it's the Lord's. And when they spoke about it to me in that way, I actually got to share my testimony to Jim in Peru. And that was my first time actually sharing those experiences. Everything that you guys heard in the Hiller video, that wasn't my first time sharing. Like that was my first time sharing it like documentary style. But my first time actually sharing my experiences and my past and kind of like expressing how I've used CrossFit and intertwined my faith and how I truly came to be Fee, who you guys know now. I shared it with a group of people that they don't know me. They only know me on my Instagram. They only know Fee, the CrossFit Games athlete. They don't know Fee, the person. And that was a huge step to just having a little bit more courage to truly share. And I got to sharing, and I was bawling my eyes out reading this thing. Like I was just a mess of a person crying, but I got it done, and I've never felt so free. And the connection that I had with people that didn't even know me before, I felt so seen and so understood and so loved. And I had a dream a couple days after that moment. I had a dream, and in my dream, it was like me and sitting in a classroom, and there was a male teacher, bearded male teacher, comes up to me in my dream and was like, "You have a very powerful story. You should share it more with more people." In my dream, that's what he said. And Andrew came 3 days later. So
Did he have a beard when he came?
Yeah, he does. Andrew does have a little beard, doesn't he? Sometimes. No.
That's incredible.
But 3 days later, Andrew comes and we're just having conversation. And Andrew is such a great person when it comes to it was so easy to connect with him. Like, we're just hanging, chilling. He's getting to see, my life and how I do things and my sweet golden retriever. And we were just in the middle of conversation where I started to open up to him about those things and my past and like who I was at 19 and like the true like the reason that I stuck to CrossFit so intensely. So I was just organically sharing it with him. Cameras were off, and he's just like, Fee, this is you. We need to share this. We should share this if you feel comfortable to. He goes, what we just talked about, I would love, for you to share this to the world because I think it's really powerful. And I didn't even expect truly that to happen. And he's like, okay, if when the moment comes, you could totally share or you could totally not share, and that is fine. And we were just interviewing, and the way that we were interviewing on the couch, as you guys watched, like it just felt like a normal conversation, and it just poured out the way that it did. And I'm just so happy that it resonated with so many after that.
I love that. Hiller being a softie.
Yeah. Yeah. But he has one thing I realized about Andrew is, I mean, I only knew him from, his YouTube videos and his personality on YouTube. He came and he left that weekend and all of us were like, Andrew is so cool. He's so real. Like I was able to have such real, raw, authentic conversation with him that you just never really know someone if you just know them through a screen. And that's why I think connection is so important, like at a human level, like a face to face, person to person level. It's so easy to judge who someone is just through a screen and through a comment section. But I had nothing but amazing experiences with Andrew. I'm so happy that we did that. And we even still stay connected. We're still connected even now.
I love that. Yeah, I met him at Wadapalooza, and I was like a little bit nervous because he seems like he might be intimidating, and he was the most friendly person. I was like,
So
oh,
friendly.
he's really easy to talk to.
So easy. He knows how to navigate the cameras and what's like appropriate in certain times while we're training. Cause like things are kind of stressful and we're working hard and we're doing our thing. And he just like understood us so easily and so immediately that it was such a joy having him. We loved it.
I love that. On the Savan podcast, you talked kind of a lot of follow up also about this video with Hiller. And something
Mhm.
that kind of resonated is you mentioned when you're in your kind of darkest moments or days that you got good at pretending to be happy, right? Pretending to be joyful. And now I believe this is real joy, right? This is the feel we're seeing. And I literally interviewed you first at WFP asking about this specific topic. Like,
Yes, you did.
yeah. And how did that happen? Like, do you think there was a moment or a process or something where you went from kind of faking it to it being genuine? And then
Mhm.
how does it feel now for it to be like, this is genuinely how I feel? I
It's
don't.
genuine. Mm. I guess when I think about when I had to pretend, it's like, it's one thing. I don't know. It's such a hard conversation of or topic of what do you consider? What is the difference between happiness and being happy or feeling happy, and like just having joy in yourself and moments? Like there could be really bad things that happen into to your life, but despite bad things happening or things out of your control, you could still be a joyful person. Um, and I think the difference, when I was younger, is I would pretend to be happy but then I was just so cold to even like mentally, I was just so cold to a lot of things. I was unappreciative. I hated myself. I hated the world. I hated, bad people. Guys suck. Like everything just sucked. Like I couldn't see the good that was still like surrounding me. And I pretended to be, a happy person because that was just that's easy. It's easy to pretend because then you don't get the questions. You don't get the, oh my gosh, are you okay? What's going on? Like you don't get questioned about all the things. If you don't, do you need therapy? Oh my God, I didn't go to therapy at all. And but that's the one thing that I'm like, I don't want to go to therapy, and they're just going to ask me a whole bunch of questions that I don't even
Yeah.
feel. I'm so exhausted because I have to put on this mask all the time. I don't even want to like entertain things that are going to make me more exhausted and maybe more frustrated, and maybe not to say that I shouldn't have gone, but at the moment, that's where my mind was. Um, I also I didn't have a relationship with Christ at all. I've always been, I've always been someone that has believed in the Lord. Absolutely. I've always been someone that has had a religion. You know, I grew up Catholic, and I practiced, Catholicism with my mom. We would go to church and we would go to Catholic mass, and I even went to like Catholic school when I was younger. Like we did all the things. So I never was a person that didn't have faith, but I also was someone that didn't have a relationship with Christ. And all those years, like I didn't understand or know what having a relationship with Christ is or was. And I think more recently I've been getting back to my faith. And I think now there's a lot more joy that I think more people are even seeing now than even last year or even the years past or even when I made it back in 2023. I think the joy that I have is different. It's more intense, but I think it just comes from the Lord. And I say that because I'm so confident that right now where I'm at, I could go through bad things, hard things. I could get dead last at the games. I could get 32nd again at the games. And I'm so confident in my purpose and in my joy and like what truly matters in my life that I know I could go through hard things and still have a joyful heart despite hard things. And I don't think I could have even said that, a year ago or even several months ago. So I think that's where I'm at when it comes to who I am at 30 versus who I was at 19 or 20. And it's something that you wish on everybody. Like you wish for everyone to just find faith and find the Lord in their own life, that when things are really, really hard, they could still lean in and find joy because He is joy. He is love. Um, and yeah, and it's just been really cool just exploring it. I'm so new to my faith too, and I do have this kind of childlike curiosity to it, and it's just been really cool to keep developing it.
Do you ever feel pressure though? Like now that people have like coined you a ray of sunshine, if you do have a bad day, assuming that you have them just like everybody else, do you ever feel pressure to have to kind of like turn that on days or times where you don't want to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is. I guess naturally there's always that pressure, right? Because you want to uphold, maybe, I don't know if like upholding a standard is the right word or an expectation, but I think all of us have certain expectations for ourselves. And when we don't meet those set expectations, there's a little bit of, maybe moments of, oh man, I didn't do what I'm supposed to do, or I didn't act the way that I know I can act or be. So I think naturally, like, yeah, like I guess maybe there is a little bit of that pressure, but it's not pressure put on by anyone. I think the only reason that I ever feel that pressure is because maybe I do that for myself. I put that onto myself. Never once has anybody been like, Fee, you have to be happy or else no brand is going to want you. Like, no one has ever said that to me. You have to be happy or else I don't want to be your friend. Like, you know, and so it's crazy that you say that, Kate, because yeah, there is that pressure, but from no one other than myself.
Yep, always, always.
That's how it works.
You can have a bad day. It's okay.
Yeah, and I do, and I think like more people like probably see that more now. I mean, I think I've cried on more videos than I've ever cried like consistently over the last 3 weeks.
I love
I
it.
think I think usually people see me crying when I'm like really happy over something. Like when I laugh hysterically or if I'm talking about something that I really love, I'll just cry because they're just tears of just love and passion and joy. But I think recently people have seen me tear up because I'm just sad and I'm remembering sad things and I'm talking about hard things, and it's like, oh, Fee cries because she's also sad and she also feels deep remorse on things. Like those things, I feel everything in between.
Yeah, and I think like you said that people are so different than what we see on social media, and I think it's so cool to see like the range of who you are is not just picture perfect all the time, right?
Yeah. And maybe that's on me too. Like, truly, that's what I show. So I show on Instagram. I don't think I've ever shown, a bad moment like the moment on Hiller. Like that was my first time sharing something like that, but I've never shared that on my own social media. I've never shared a video of me just like crying because I'm dealing with something really hard and I want to share it with others to connect. Like usually all my posts are pretty smiley, happy go lucky. I've had a good moment. I'm showing gratitude over something. Like it's joy and it's light. And yes, those are all parts of me, but it doesn't mean that I don't go through. I don't, you know, the times that my husband's just seen me cry because I'm just feeling so down on myself. He sees that. No one else sees that. But not to say that I probably shouldn't. I probably should also share those moments more.
I think you're probably leading the way for that, honestly. Like, we talk about being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there, and like, you did something very scary. And I think hopefully that will urge other people to do the same. And it's good to, get to know you guys behind the scenes and kind of what makes you you other than just the athlete. And that's kind of why we made this podcast too. Like, we termed more than sport because we wanted to, like, yes, we want to talk about your performances, but these are really the things that matter too. So like I said, like, perfect person to come on here, and appreciate you for being so
Oh,
vulnerable.
thank you guys. I think it's really cool to have opportunities to like share more than what people like. People love seeing us compete and they love seeing us do the thing and hit the PRs and pump our fists after a really good event. Like that's fun, but that's to me not close to real. Like that's not real. Like that is happening. That's a moment, a split moment in time. But like all the things that happen before having like a really cool moment on the competition floor, there's so much that goes into that, or there's so much that goes into even just like I've never met a joyful person that hasn't gone through like dark, hard moments. Like I've never met a person that has always been happy because they only experience these amazing, beautiful, incredibly successful things. And everyone has a story. And I think that's where people connect the most. Like people truly connect the most where with pain and hard and vulnerability. And I think maybe that's why people love CrossFit too, is because we're all just like doing this thing in pain and discomfort. And we all kind of share that passion to do hard things together. And maybe that's also maybe why I leaned into CrossFit a lot, using pain to connect, and it's powerful. And so I really appreciate, I think everyone being so supportive, and the response has been incredible. I mean, I'm still going through so many messages, and it just like each message brings me to tears because I've gotten messages over, hey, because of you, I'm leaning into my faith more. I lost, my faith in Christ because of, I was so sick of bad things always happening to me. I got angry at him. There's people that are like, because of you, I'm a little bit more braver to share my story. Or, because of what I heard on Hillers, now I could see that I can get through hard things and use pain as good. Like, I have like 200 notifications in my inbox right now, and these comments are just life changing. Like these are the comments that you're like, man, if I didn't think my story had a purpose then, I for sure know that it has purpose now.
It's
For sure.
definitely
And I think like when we just like normal people watch y'all incredible athletes, it's almost like we put you on a pedestal that there's no way any of this has happened to you.
Mhm.
Like you could never relate to something like that because look, you're having these amazing moments. And I think when you share something that like most people are never going to relate to competing at the CrossFit Games, but thousands of people are going to relate to this type of experience. And I think that brings you back down to the level where people can relate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so true. Could have said
There's
that
this
better.
song by Andy Grammer called "I Wish You Pain," and you should listen to it.
Ooh,
It's
good.
like exactly what I'm talking about in song form.
I love good songs with good meaning. I wish you pain. I wish you pain.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's basically talking about how, like, in order to be a happy and good and fulfilled person, you have to have gone through something painful.
Oh, I love it. Andy Grammer, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. You have to send. Yeah, I wish you paid my Andy Grammer. I have to remember that.
I'll send it to you after.
Yes.
It's being recorded too, so if you need to know, you can
Oh yeah,
just.
that's true. Go back to the recording.
Oh yeah, rewatch us. We're good.
Yes, yes.
Fee, before we let you go, because I'm sure you have a lot of things to do, Patrick says Fee Sellies are the best sellies, and I agree.
Listen, yeah, my
What-
celebrations. I never plan them. I feel like my go-to apparently now is just jumping up and down, pumping my fists. Like I
We're gonna like
love
talk
that.
to Jason about planned celebrations, right?
Oh, Jason has his planned celebrations. That's like the football player in him. I feel like he always comes out with some good ones. I could never do that. What is the one that he did a couple of years? Was it at
Wasn't it like,
Syndicate, the
oh, yeah, yeah.
cigarette or something? Imagine if I did something like that. That would be
It would
so.
be hilarious, honestly.
Oh my god! If I do what he did at Wadapalooza, fire hydrant on a barbell, like
Amazing.
just something.
You
You never
know,
know.
last we always have our guests. You're the second one, so Dex. We had him do a hot take before he left, so you have the platform to give us a hot take. It can be about CrossFit. It could be about anything you want it to be about.
Oh gosh, I'm so bad at these hot take. What was his hot take?
Um, I can't remember what he backtracked and said, I think what I said earlier is probably my hot take. Back to
Yeah.
the conversation that we had earlier.
But he
Uh,
did have some hot takes on like WFP and CrossFit. We'll give him that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So again, a hot take is something that you think is cool, good, but most people will disagree with it.
yeah. Like, I like Nickelback. That's my hot take.
Think about. Okay. Oh, it really can be about anything. Um, Gosh, this will be nothing interesting, but I think I've been arguing with people about it lately that tahini belongs on almost every food possible.
I love it. I love that.
I never
Not
had it.
CrossFit related, but I got
You've never
about
had it?
No,
I
I've
got
never.
about 4 containers of tahini in my pantry right now.
You're a fiend.
You got to put it
Yeah,
on
I put tahini
everything.
on everything.
It's so good.
Like I don't put it on a good ribeye. That's like the one thing that I really won't do. But I put it on almost every piece of fruit. I brought it into movie theaters with me. I'll pour it on popcorn. I've taken it on the airplane. I put it on all kinds of fruit and cucumbers, carrots, vegetable. Like you can put tahini on almost everything. That's my hot take.
And now there's like candy that's like covered in tahini.
Yes, anytime someone like people that I don't even know now on Instagram, like they'll message me, they'll take a picture of a tahine just snack, whether it's like gummies or a snack, peanuts covered in tahine, and they'll be like, because of you, I am purchasing this tahine covered whatever.
You're
Like
influencing the masses, clearly.
I've gotten tahine gummies sent to me.
That's amazing.
Where do we
Yes.
get you sponsored? You need a sponsor.
I've actually reached out to Tahine a couple times to ask like if we could do a collaboration, and they haven't really like latched on. But I tag them all the time.
Yes, keep doing it.
Yes, yes.
Well,
Tahine popsicles have been a thing. They've always been a thing, but like more Americans are realizing that like tahine popsicles, and I'm like, it's been around forever.
Hmm.
So, what would your hot take be? What's a hot take? Well, no, Kate said Nickelback.
yeah.
Mesa, Mesa? What's your hot take?
Oh gosh, I didn't have one this week.
Yeah.
Um, my hot take is that maybe that this will actually be kind of nice that like Hiller is putting out the best content in CrossFit right now.
I agree. I agree.
And I disagree with
Absolutely.
Hiller on a lot of things, but he's putting out some hot content lately.
He's putting out the real stuff that it's like the unfiltered things. And I love that. We love the unpolished versions of human beings, and that's what he's putting out. I
Great.
love it. Oh, my second hot take before, because this is on my mind now. Coffee can be a a post dinner dessert. Like you can drink coffee at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. That should be something that is could also be normal because I drink coffee after dessert and or after dinner and I'll be like, I'll have coffee for dessert.
No, so I grew up in Dubai and I'm half Lebanese, and that's
Yeah.
very normal in Arab culture is you have like espresso or coffee after
Yes.
dinner. It's very
Yes.
normal. And so I grew up thinking that was really normal. And then I moved to the States and people are like, who has coffee at night? And I was like most of the world
Yeah.
does. So
Yeah. I think most Americans that don't have like ethnic cultural roots think that it's the most bizarre thing.
it's the foreign
And
part. We get it.
yeah, we understand. Like my family in Mexico, they'll be like, "Hey, we're meeting at the coffee shop at 8 p.m." and it's
Yeah.
like on Monday, Tuesday. Like, and we're drinking coffee at 8 o'clock at night.
I'm in Europe right now, and I have never drank so much coffee in my life. I
Same.
I like don't love it that much, but like I've drank more coffee in the last 2 days than I have.
It's like a cultural thing
It
almost.
is. It is. It's like instead of drinking wine, it's like you're drinking your coffee.
Yeah.
It's part of the culture.
Probably a better alternative, honestly.
Maybe for a different reason. You know what? I've been drinking a lot. I need to send you when you're back in the States. If you guys both like coffee, I'll have to send you some strong coffee. They're actually one of the sponsors at the games. But I've been drinking strong coffee, and it's like this powdered coffee, but also has collagen protein in it and some good things. So I've been drinking that like 4:30 on a Thursday. Like I get to do that now.
I love that.
Well,
Well, you
all
guys
right.
are awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Always
you.
enjoy chatting with you. We're definitely going to see you at WFP, so we'll have to catch up in person.
Yes, yes. Oh, I can't wait. Not too far away.
Not
Not
too
too
far.
So
Super
soon.
close, the games and then WFP. But again, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for coming on here and getting to do a little girl chat, if you will. But hopefully we'll have you on again soon, okay?
Yes, thank you guys. Really loved our conversation. I appreciate it.
Bye, Fee. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was really fun.
I like just feel so happy. It's like rubs off.
Super fun. All like a ray of sunshine, definitely. No matter like what she's talking about, and that's what I love about her is she can make anything like a feel good conversation, even when it's not. So,
I know.
we have a couple minutes. There's been a lot of stuff in the chat I was trying to read, and I really did not. I saw somebody saying we should be canceled because I like Nickelback, so that was rude.
Everyone's entitled to their hot take, I guess.
If you guys don't like Nickelback, you're lying and you just want to sound cool. That's what everybody does. They hate Nickelback because they think it's cool. I don't know who that was, but if you want to pop up again. But we were going to cover just a couple things just to kind of close it out. We actually ended up talking to Fee much longer than what we thought. But I think the biggest thing that everybody was talking about this week was Daniel Brandon and Matt Torres and that whole thing. We kind of wanted to address it and talk about it a little bit. Broke the internet, if you will. I think that's the term that the kids use, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I think it's like also
Hell yeah.
it's relatable, right? Like they're in the public eye, so it seems crazier. But like we've all posted some stuff we shouldn't be posting on Instagram that's a little too personal that maybe drags someone through the mud, right?
But, I mean, yes. Like I have wanted to do that. I've like gotten my Twitter fingers ready to post like an Instagram story dragging somebody, but then I stop myself and I don't end up posting it. 10 years ago, you could probably find something for sure. But like in my adult life,
People, please don't take.
I have, I have, okay, I don't know what this means, PC. In my adult life, I just thought twice about it, especially, I don't know, if you own a business and you're like, or you're in the public eye, like people are obviously going to see it and talk about it. And
For sure. I think that's like, as I've become a business owner, you have to be more hyper aware of those things. And I think, you know, love and relationships, it's so emotional, but you have to, for lack of a better term, separate church and state, right? Like you have to be able to say, how is this going to affect my business? And this is where I'm freaking out. I'm going to call Kate and tell her to tell me not to do the thing, right? Like you got to have those checks and balances in your life. And I think it's so normalized now to like be so public with everything that, yeah, exactly. Delete it before you post it. And I get it. He removed it, whatever. But I think we all see DB and we know she's like passionate and loud and has a lot to say and posts a lot of things. But I don't think people knew that that's how Matt Torres was. And I think this was like, oh, what?
Definite behavior, like DB behavior for sure. And that's what I love about her. She does not care. Wish she would have done that this time because I was checking her Instagram to see if we got any updates on like her side of the story. If you ever want to come on, DB, and let the people know, you can come on here.
We love it.
But I'm just being nosy. And that's all people are. Like everybody's talking about TMZ, but like you are a public figure in our space. And when you put yourself out there like that, people are going to want to know what's going on in your life. And it seems silly, but like it also seems silly that I care about what the people from Jersey Shore are doing. You know, they make no difference in my life at all, but I still want to know when there's drama there. It's just, I don't know what we like. But my friend here,
because we're CrossFitters, right?
my friend here says people in Europe, like CrossFitters in Europe, don't really care about that. We were talking about that yesterday for quite a while. She's like, they don't really know about the drama and they stay out of it.
I think culturally, though, like that's a very Americanized culture, reality TV and all of that stuff. So I get that. I think, you know, people call DB like the villain of CrossFit because she's just not like, congratulations, everyone. Let me be so perfect and put together. She's got some passion and hype. And I personally love it, right? I think it's cool. I think CrossFit needs more big personalities, but I think that breeds obviously like crazy dramatic stories like this and big fights and things like that. And I think like maybe that's good for the sport to have bigger person. Like look at basketball. We have Angel Reese and she's like the wildest and it's brought so much attention to women's basketball. So maybe we need some bigger personalities like this having some crazy fights online. I don't know.
No, I agree. And, you know, I think that's like perfect. What you said though, too, is, you know, big personalities like that do make for big stories. And she's very polarizing. So people want to know. People are interested in what she's doing. But like what I love about her is she will drag these people on the internet. Like she'll pull up like screen record people's comments and block them and respond to them. And I love that because she just says it with her chest.
Yeah, and I think like I always respect people who are unapologetically themselves, right? Like I would rather you be mean to my face than be mean behind my back or, you know, just tell me how it is. Like shoot me straight. And I think whether or not you agree or disagree with a lot of the polarizing things she says, she says it with her chest and she owns it. And I think there's something to like respect about that, honestly.
Yeah. I was going to say, or I was actually going to send this to you earlier, but because we're on crazy weird schedules with me being out of this country. Dunce updates. Did you see it? Posted. I guess she did a deep dive or somebody did a deep dive and it's like a video of Austin. I think that was his name. The other guy, maybe a qualifier workout and they're both in the video together and they're like conversing and she screen recorded it and put a love song on as the background.
You'll have to send that to me after. I need to see it. That's funny.
It was really
That's
funny. I got a big chuckle out of that. Just
it's so funny because like in my local community, right, things happen like this all the time. CrossFit's such a small world. Like this person dated this person. And then when you see it, like you're like, oh, it's the same for everyone, right? Like it's the same in all those. It's just, you know, a bigger high school kind of.
CrossFit's real small. I mean, that's why I'm in Europe is because I met some girl at my gym back in Florida and she lived in Austria. And so now I'm here visiting her. Like, and she.
That's why this literal podcast exists.
You know, Brian and like we all like everybody knows everybody. It's so strange because it is small. It seems very big, but it's not. So.
Is there any other topics of the week we need to cover, or is that?
I think that was it.
I think that was it. I'm so happy with that conversation. That was just, she's incredible.
Yeah, that was good. The next coming weeks, we may be at different times or different days because we have some guests coming on. So we'll announce that as soon as we have times to let you guys know ahead of time. Normally, again, chat is closed, if you will, unless you want to do a super chat. That just gives whoever we have on the platform to kind of tell their story. It gets really messy in the chat and can be kind of distracting. So we may have some guests on where we open it up, but for the last two, we just thought that would be best. So like PC did, if you want to do a super chat, you can. And I think that's it. Mesa, do you have anything?
No, I think that's it too. Your hot take is taken off, to be honest. But yeah, we have some really cool guests coming up, and like we want to be as consistent as we can, but we also understand that people have crazy schedules, so bear with us and just we're excited to have the guests on and make this happen. So we will see you next week.
Follow us on Instagram. We're trying to get 500 followers, guys.
500 followers. We're getting there.
All right. We will